Hello and welcome back to another episode of Coffee with Carl. And I want to thank you guys first and foremost. I mentioned a little bit of stuff about mental health in the last episode. I try not to get too preachy or talk about stuff that I have no business talking about. But I think that it's something that can sometimes help. And I really loved your feedback. It was very encouraging. I promise it's not going to be a thing that I'm going to hammer on every time. But the fact of the matter is you're watching this because you're interested in cool stuff, right? I mean, me too. But I think sometimes it really pays to remember that we're wearing this cool stuff so we could do cool things with the people that we love. And I always want to keep that in perspective. So all that being said, if you have to forego getting the next cool thing on this list today, or maybe just put it off for a little while, so that you can do things with people, your family, your friends, that is a much better investment. So the other thing I want to tell you about is, appropriately enough, we finally have Coffee with Carl mugs. There was a first version, which was fulfilled by a company called Fourth Wall. That was a ceramic mug with a green interior, which was cool. But you know what? Then I started working with Exclusive, and they could do a lot more. It's almost like I could ask them, hey, can we do a banner like this? Can we do whatever? And they make it happen. So I was like, I always wanted to do like a tin cup because, okay, tin versus ceramic, all right? There are pros and cons to each. Ceramic certainly holds heat a lot better. Ceramic is also a lot more fragile. So tin, on the other hand, you put your coffee in there, there's not as thick of a wall, so the heat can escape easier, your coffee will cool off, or whatever you put in there. That can be a good or bad thing. The good thing about it, though, is that it's basically, you can't break it, right? I mean, it's tin. What are you going to do to it that's going to break this thing? And so I love the idea of, lashing this to your backpack and heading off for, a good time. And you could use this thing by a campfire, not worry about it, falling over and hitting a rock and smashing, anything like that. This thing, if you buy one of these, if you choose to, you'll have it forever unless you lose it, which is really cool. So I like that idea, and I always like the kind of old school, this is the kind of thing that they would carry. I mean, they were probably blue with those little white flecks on them, but I always loved this idea. And so finally we have appropriate Coffee with Carl mugs, which are available in the link down there if you choose to get one. If you do, I love you for it. If not, I get it. So anyway, those are available. The other thing I wanted to tell you about or ask of you is to sign up for the newsletter. So when I started doing this, it's amazing to me that we are on 28, 29 of these. And when I first started doing it, it was okay, I didn't have a video available and I had nothing planned. So I wanted to make something. So I said, well, a bunch of cool stuff came out. I'll talk about that. And I think that was when I unboxed my flannels that I had gotten, right? And I was like, all right, well, maybe this will make some fun content. And it did, and it sort of got its own audience, and I was very happy about that. Then it began becoming its own thing. Now it's on its own channel. Now it has its own mug and logo and all that stuff, and it's a much more personal relationship that I have with the people who are watching and listening. This is also available on Spotify, if you didn't know. I upload this thing there, and we can watch it, and you can listen to it there, which is pretty cool. So, anyway, the next evolution is now I've taken all these things that I mentioned in these episodes, and I put them in an email for you weekly if you want to just see what's available, what's new, what's exciting. And I send you one email a week. I'm not going to spam you with stuff. I hate that, so I promise never to do that to you. But I'll take things that are happening in here, and also maybe if there's a collaboration or an interesting new product like this that came out, I'll put that in there as well. But if you want to sign up for the Coffee with Carl newsletter, I've put a link to do that below. And that really helps me out too, because, when I can grow my email list, it helps me talk to you, to my direct audience. And it's a great thing. So, and you can unsubscribe if you want to. It's your deal. No hard feelings. I'm also getting ready to send out care packages to members of my Patreon. I've had a Patreon. I never ever talk about it. I've really got to start rolling credits at the end of my videos, including people who have supported me, because, you could support me in a number of ways: by watching, by liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing a video. All those things are awesome. Some people choose to go above and beyond, and support me financially via Patreon. There's a couple different tiers over there. And so what I try to do is I always try to give back. And then we do things like we'll do a hang. We had the guys from Homestead Brand come on and talk about some stuff from the Knicks boots era, from what they're doing now. And the people in Patreon want to hang out with Albert. So Albert has agreed to come and do a hang with us via Google Meet. And so I try to do that like once a month, you know what I mean? But now I'm trying to get together a little care package because I have a bunch of interesting stuff and I get to know the people over on Patreon, so I can send them something that is unique to them, hopefully, and that they'll enjoy. And if they don't, I mean, maybe they'll get a chuckle out of it. So either way, looking forward to that too. But let's get into the news. So a couple of things that came out this week or have kind of like new models. The first one I saw, I was like, this is really... The pockets were what got me on this. I'm going to be totally straightforward with you. The first thing I noticed was the pockets, which is kind of weird, right? Like, you know, but this is from Wythe, New York. Hope I'm saying that right. It's the rustic plain weave hunting jacket in olive. Now it's $300 and that's a lot of money for a jacket, especially going into the spring and summer, right? Like, what do you need a jacket for? But this is an open weave, which is made out of 90% cotton, 10% linen. I wish it was a little bit more linen. You know, maybe if there's like a 50-50 blend, it'd be really nice, especially as just like a second layer when it gets a little chilly or whatever. But I love the colors that they have this in. They have it in it looks like an olive, which really honestly is more like a lime green. Olive I always think of as a darker color. But this is an olive, and then they have another one, which I think is in natural. Let me see what it is here. Yeah, it's called natural. So this also can dress up an otherwise very boring outfit. And if you are wearing a t-shirt and jeans, throw this thing on over the top of it, and because of the ornate buttons and sort of it's not like a suit jacket, but it's somewhere between. It's kind of like a chore jacket, you know, kind of deal. It will elevate that thing just a little bit. It's $300, which isn't cheap, but it does look like it's made pretty well. I gotta say, it really does look pretty nice. So, you know, if you're in the market for a lightweight jacket, there you go. Speaking of lightweight jackets, the final Workhorse, for the foreseeable future at least, came out last weekend. And it was an 8-ounce waxed canvas shell, an 8-ounce wool lining, and that we really haven't started thinking about any other ones for the future. You know, I mean, it's summer. Who wants to think about jackets in the summer? So right now, there's no plans to do any more. That's not to say that we won't or that we will. We may not. I don't really know, but... that came out, and I don't really know because it's Saturday, and it's going to come out tomorrow, but you're watching this on a Wednesday, so I don't know how well it did or if it sold one at all. But either way, that came out, and if you were on my mailing list, you saw that it was coming, because I try to let you know when these things are coming. They tend to sell out really quickly, and then I get a bunch of people like lamenting that they didn't catch the release. So hopefully you got one if you wanted it. Now, we are coming up on the warmer weather, and I gotta tell you, I am not a fan of button-up short-sleeve shirts. To me, they just look too like Dwight Schrute or maybe falling down, something. They just don't look quite right. I prefer having longer sleeves and actually rolling them up, to be completely frank. But I do have a couple. I have one from Filson that I really like. And I think that having one or two is a good idea. If you are in that situation where you can't wear a t-shirt, right? You're going to something that maybe is a little bit formal or just more formal than a t-shirt, and it's really, really hot, and you need that thing that is somewhere in between, and people are going to look at you weird if you show up with long sleeves because it's going to be 98 degrees and humid. It's not a bad thing to have some of these short sleeve shirts, and I have two for you. One more affordable than the other, but they both are very, very good. The first one is from Ironheart, so right away, ready your wallet. You know this is going to be expensive. This is the 5-ounce selvage short-sleeved work shirt. It comes in red and it comes in green. Both of them look great. And I got to tell you, I know, look, it's $290. That's a lot of money. I won't be buying one of these just because it's too expensive. But a lot of people have the disposable income to purchase things like this. And I got to say, they did a great job with that pattern. I just think it looks very cool, old school Americana. Ironheart does stuff that you really can't punch a hole in. I mean, it looks, well, you could punch a hole in it physically, but it just looks very, very, every time they do something, it's a great quality, it seems. I've never really seen an example of a poorly made Ironheart item. So their QC has to be really, really good. Are there other companies who possibly do it better? Yeah, I would say that there are. But Ironheart is probably, as far as consistency goes and availability and always coming out with something new, pretty close to the top. They're doing a great job. Very interesting company, Ironheart. But if this is too much, which frankly, it is for me, $290 is too much money. I'm not going to ever spend that. Here's a great alternative, okay? You can get it over at Hinoya, and it's from the company Sugarcane. Now, Sugarcane, again, making their stuff in Japan. I don't have anything from Sugarcane, but I have heard very, very good things about it. And this is literally a very similar shirt for about a third of the price. It's $120. Comes in blue or red check, and it looks like the fit is a little bit less slim. I don't know that for sure. I definitely think that you should certainly do your research. The other thing I should mention is that the Ironheart is cotton. This is rayon. Rayon is a totally different material, more closer related to like silk. So it's a very lightweight material, and I think this could be really, really great for a really hot day if you want that same look for $120, which is still expensive, but much better. I just think this is a way better. Let me just take a look at they have it in centimeters. Forget me, I can't do it in my imperial measurement brain. I can't do this conversion off the top of my head. But anyway, there's a great example of something that is very close, probably enough so that you won't regret it, and a lot less expensive. Either one, though, would be a great option for the summer. Speaking of crazy expensive, Viberg. So again, Viberg, Ironheart, these companies all just are synonymous with really, really expensive. Viberg came out with a new release, a new leather release, which is called the Mushroom Chamois, which honestly, I know I said they're expensive, but this and the 310 last, ooh, yeah, it looks really good. Now, this reads kind of a greenish brown. I love that. So when somebody says mushroom, I mean, you go, well, I don't know. What are we talking about? Like Toad from Mario Brothers, red with white dots? Or are we talking about mushroom? This is I guess like more like a shiitake mushroom. I don't know, but it's this really great looking greenish brown. Looks like kind of like moss and just beautiful in that last. So I had to include it here. No, I won't be buying it. Again, $880 for this, but people do swear by Viberg. I think that you really have companies like Grant Stone nipping at their heels as far as fit and finish goes for far, far less, and I love my Grant Stones. However, Grant Stone, the closest thing they have to like the 310 last is their brass boot, which isn't quite the same thing. So some people are diehard Viberg fans. I love this boot. I don't own a 310. I would love to someday, but at that price, man, I just can't justify it. That's really, really high. But this Mushroom Chamois looks awesome. Look, I'm just going to come right out and tell you that almost everything I have today is really, really expensive. All right. So just, it is what it is, right? When I go through and I look at the releases for this week, typically I will have, number one, I subscribe to almost every newsletter for any brand that I like, and even some that I don't, just to see what's coming. I will also regularly check their social media feeds, and then I go on to some of these like stores like Hinoya or Self Edge or Standard and Strange, and I see what they have, because often they have a roundup. So that's how I usually find all these new things. And just being a nerd and being into this stuff, usually you hear rumblings every week of a new product that came out. So a lot of times the brands don't try to hide it from you. They want to sell these things, right? So this is another one that's very expensive, but damn, this thing looks awesome. It's from Freenote Cloth, an American company. Looks awesome. It is their CPO shirt in indigo sashiko. Come on. I mean, just, I think indigo, what are they doing? It's just, oh my God. Freenote Cloth, have you been reading my diary? Because this is exactly what I would wear. I love it. Has that great cut. You know what I mean? It's a shirt. So it's not meant to be a jacket, but if you live in a warmer climate, it could easily be one. It has that great high-waisted cut. The two large pockets, the two large chest pockets are actually from a military shirt. So this is a military-inspired shirt. The buttons, everything about it, the worn-in look, I don't know if it comes that way. As a matter of fact, typically, I'll show you. I have a little sample. So indigo sashiko comes like this. And now this is a sample that for an upcoming product that I'm working on. And so this is indigo sashiko. And if I go like that, I already have indigo on my finger. So it's usually deep, deep, dark blue like that. And it looks great. It doesn't usually get to the stage that they're showing it on this Freenote Cloth site for a while. However, I'm wondering if this is the way it comes to you. They don't really say. It does just say indigo sashiko, but I don't know, man. It looks awesome. 14-ounce yarn-dyed sashiko fabric, custom Italian horn buttons, $350. Not cheap, but again, a very special piece. And I don't ever feel like I get ripped off with Freenote Cloth. Their stuff is very expensive. Not crazy, like, think about what you're getting here compared to an Ironheart, right? This is still like a little bit less expensive than that, but they do go above and beyond with all of their materials. Those horn buttons are beautiful. Freenote Cloth tends to emboss their name on like the coin edge of the button, which is a really cool look. I mean, it's branded, but not in your face. They do a great job with all their products. I'm a big Freenote fan, and I just think that they're taking a lot of the stuff that the Japanese brands are doing and doing it here in America, which I appreciate. So Freenote Cloth is maybe one of those brands that, like, if I had to choose one brand to buy from for the rest of my life, it may be Freenote. But this thing here, this is a total winner. I just think in that indigo sashiko, because they have it in other fabrics as well, it looks particularly good. All right. I kind of lied because we're going to include an affordable work boot here. Now, this is in the realm of affordability, and we're going to get into this in a second. So this is from Red Wing. This is their new release. It's called the Truguard Lite. Truguard Lite, yes. And their whole thing here is that they're trying to make a lightweight boot for the summer. I mean, obviously, they come out with these boots in the summer when everybody's looking to a warm weather option for the job site. And it also comes with the BOA lacing system, which is fantastic. If you haven't used one yet, it's a game changer. The problem with the BOA is that it looks futuristic, so it only looks at home on certain types of boots. I wish that there was a more, I don't know, heritagey version of it, because it's great, it's super quick, and the cool thing about BOA, too, is as a company, if you need a replacement part for it, they will send you one, like, overnight. So that was my worry about these, and I have an upcoming review about their Apex boot, which also has the BOA system. Was that, all right, yeah, this is great, but if it breaks, am I just SOL and my boots are useless for a while? But that's not the case. They have a total user serviceable kit that is like a unit replacement piece. Everything, the like strappy thing, or like the cable, I guess you would call it, the ratchet, everything there, they will send to you like overnight, and you can replace everything yourself. So it's pretty cool. I got to tell you, as far as BOA goes, it's a brand I definitely can believe in. Red Wing, on the other hand, of course, they have their hits and misses. This, I don't know, man. I got to tell you, I think this is kind of a miss. Now, this is expensive. It's $290. Is the BOA version any... I think usually there's a little bit of an upcharge for the BOA. Where's the price on this damn page? I hate that when you have to, like, scroll through. Like, just give me the price for it. But anyway, the regular one is $290, and this one maybe is just a little bit more. But, you know, if you're playing in the $300-ish range, you're going to have a ton of very good competitors. And, you know, this thing is basically, they're trying to go lightweight with everything, and I appreciate that, but that means synthetic. So they're going synthetic with a lot of these things, and yes, it's probably comfortable, and yes, it's probably lightweight. I'll bet you it doesn't breathe very well, because synthetics tend not to breathe very well unless they're designed for that, like Gore-Tex. But I think that this is for me, this is a swing and a miss. I would rather go with the Red Wing Apex. If I'm going to go with a lightweight version that's going to have the BOA system, then why? Well, then again, okay. You know what? I'm thinking about this. This is an actual welted boot, this Truguard Lite. The Apex is not. That's a cemented boot. So, you know, maybe if you wanted something that you could resole, the Truguard's the way to go. If you didn't really care, because you're somebody who just kills your boots, destroys them, and doesn't want to resole them, then maybe the Apex is better. I don't know. I don't think these are very good looking, particularly, I at all. I'm not a big fan of like that angular cut, you know, looks like it's pieced together from a million different things kind of look. But then again, I mean, if they function well, then I guess the proof's in the pudding. But we'll see. I don't know. It's out there. Truguard Lite. If that sounds like something that you want, go ahead. I'm not going to buy it, but maybe it's for you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have this week. Thank you so much again for tuning in and watching and listening to me ramble on and on. Again, if you want to see this more succinct and right in your inbox, go ahead and sign up for that newsletter. If you don't want to, no hard feelings. I hope that you know any of these things that I mentioned on here, whether it's a collaboration, Patreon, the newsletter, whatever, totally optional. And, I'm not like, do it or else, that'd be kind of a jerk move, wouldn't it? But either way, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Love you all, and I'll catch you next time.